Hi, this is Drew with a review of the airmax 1. This is the RPM version. Well, basically, those whatever those three letters are, it usually means that this is not for performance. It's something that they're doing as a bit of an eye candy, something experimental to make it more flashy. If you see the word LV8, which is elevate, short for apparently, to provide some form of a Pro or a little bit of an update or upgrade compared to the old version, even though although they're released decades later. Level 8 usually means they try to have some performance updates, or they try to maintain the level of integrity in terms of the performance. So this, as you can see, the midsole is very white, although I'm not sure if it's PU or polyurethane or EV or Phylon, but they do feel rather firm like Phylon. The original Air Max ones had those white, sort of creamy material that gets kind of soft and turns even yellower with time, but they were a lot mushier. Nonetheless, this is the shoe that you want to try if you want to see what the Jordan 3s feel like. Because if you try the retros, they're rock hard. You don't feel the air working. And this is the shoe that provides more or less the same setup in terms of the midsole density and the air cushioning. It's got a heel air, but it's only up to kind of here. So here, there's a lot more compression as you step on it. So it provides a nice little smooth glide. There's a 4-foot air sole as well, just like in the Jordan 3s. But if again, I mentioned the Jordan 3s, the more they're retroed, the harder they feel. They just feel rock hard. This is this is the closest cushioning you could feel to the original Jordan 3s. 87 is when this shoe came out. Tinker Hatfield was not an official designer for the Nike company back then. He was hired as a architect to design showrooms for Nike events and whatnot. But he had a passion for shoes. He was an athlete in college. What he did was he visited the Pompidou Center. I hope I'm not butchering the name or the pronunciation. So he visited this specific structure in France, and he noticed that everything is exposed, like the elevators. They show how it works, and there's no walls and whatnot. So he was really driven to come up with a Nike with a visible air window there. The Tailwind had the full-length air sole, but they were really reluctant to have a hole here or to make some structural design changes in the midsole because they feared that it might affect the integrity or the cushioning or whatnot. Basically, it's because it's something that hasn't been done before. They don't want to risk it, I suppose. They are a business. They're about making sales and taking less risks. But Tinker Hatfield was driven, and he actually shared his ideas and showed the sketches and possible modifications and how it could work and why it would be safe and why it would fly. And all in all, they tried to get it released, and there were some supporters. And Nike is supposedly comprised of a lot of zany, wacky people who want to try new things. But apparently, just before they got released, there were concerns, possibly from marketing or sales. They felt that with the air exposed, people might feel that it is more vulnerable to external elements. Like, what if the aerosol splits out, or what if the aerosol gets popped? Wouldn't consumers worry about that and be reluctant to purchase it? But of course, they were wrong. People love the fact that they got an air window that lets them see that there's an aerosol there and lets people know that this is a Nike Air, and air is something that works, something that Nike and the person who made the purchase can feel a tremendous amount of pride in, I suppose. So visible air, that's how it got started, with Tinker Hatfield dabbing a little bit into the design team instead of being an architecture as he was hired. And of course, Tinker Hatfield is also credited as the man who made sure the Jordan brand stayed alive and Michael Jordan stayed with Nike, because Jordan was kind of upset with he did feel like the Jordan 1s and 2s were really unattractive, and they weren't really super comfortable. So he wanted to wear the kind of comfortable performance shoe that tested and proven that he loved in college, which was Adidas. He probably was thinking about signing a deal with some other company. But as soon as that was about to happen, Tinker Hatfield was hired to change his mind, and he did his homework, and he came up with this, Air Max 1 based basketball shoe, which is sleeker, and it's got a midsole that's soft with an exposed air sole, which makes it fancy, and a forefoot air as well. And it was sort of like a low cut instead of a high or mid cut, the Jordan 3s, and it had that elephant print that Michael loved, as well as the Jumpman logo for the first time being adorned on a Michael Jordan basketball shoe, and he loved it. Not only that, Tinker Hatfield actually had a line of Jordan apparels, and they had models just walking and doing a little runway show before Michael Jordan, casually showing him this is the direction we're taking it, and you will have absolute control and input in all the kind of future design ventures that we would dabble in. And Michael Jordan was convinced, and he loved the shoe, he loved the design, he loved Tinker Hatfield, and it was a match made in heaven from that on. As for this Air Max 1, since we talked about basically its history, this particular model, it's sort of like the lemon lime flavor. As you can tell, there's green and sort of like a creamy, yellowy, lemony color all around. Even the Nike logo has a sliced lemon. And yeah, the insole has lemon with a lime color background. The insole is sort of like a thin EVA, nothing spectacular, but nothing too insubstantial. It does have a bit of a decent elevation here to provide a nice heel-to-toe drop, but unfortunately they do use the same PSI air soles here and on the forefoot, so on the heel you have your whole body weight compressing on it, so you can feel the heel air working, and also the foam is all this is soft foam. The air starts from here, so there's a nice little balance of a direct severe compression to a little bit of a bounce. But on the forefoot, although there is a heel-to-toe drop, the air sole, you can feel the air sole there. It's a tiny little bubble bag, you can feel it, but it's not getting the job that it's supposed to get done, which is of course have something a little bit lower to the ground and softer compared to the heel. So a little bit disappointing, but still, once again, I emphasize it. The Jordan 3 retros are never the Jordan 3 originals. They do not feel like the performance they were in the 80s. So if you want to feel what the Jordan 3 felt like originally, this is the shoe you want to go for. Even though if it's a PRM, RPM, or a level 8, they do have the basic setup to provide that softness, that soft stride. This whole upper material with the air were all around. This is a 3M Scotch material, so you'll see them reflecting light. And the swoosh is nice little patent leather there, so nice touch there. The outsole, yeah, it's a basic waffle pattern with a little bit more, I suppose, altered angles and shaped rectangles. So the rubber is pretty thick, so you can be reassured that there's going to be a certain substantial level of durability, but of course it's not great for something like a quick stop and go or late lateral side-to-side movements. This is a casual jogger, but there are so many other options out there. I would not recommend this for training or running, more so for casual wear, or to once again understand or feel what Jordan 3 truly originally felt like. Try this. And this is an iconic shoe that put Tinker Hatfield on the designer's chair, and also it was the first to display the visible air sole, and it really set the bar up and up the ante and set the foundation for future Nike models to come. In that sense, it's something that you might want to consider. For size 9.5, it weighs about 388 grams. It does feel a little bit narrow, so I would suggest going half size up, because you're not going to wear this for some serious performance. So for casual wear, definitely don't want to go true to size or half a size down. It's a little bit narrow. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I do wish, although this is nice and uniform, I do wish they would have had the traditional Nike air stitching or logo here. That would have been a nice little touch. It's not crazy breathable, but it's not that crazy hot either. Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Something you might want to consider if you see a random Air Max 1 sitting on your shelf going on crazy discounts. Might want to put your feet in there and check out what Jordan 3s felt like. Might want to keep it if you like what it feels like and you love the design and you love owning a piece of Nike history.